Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Sam. How you doing?
Oh, better than I deserve, that's for sure. It's been a week, right?
You know it has, and it's only Wednesday, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. This is true. This is true. We titled this "Be Aware of Your Emotional State During the Holidays," and we had some conversations beforehand. This can be a very dangerous time for people.
There's a there's a lot going on, and it's not just your own emotional state, but there's going to be large family gatherings. There's going to be lots of age dynamics,
Yep.
and so the littles are going to be overstimulated. The the dogs, I'm sure you can hear the dog growling. The dogs are going to be, the pets are going to be overstimulated and possibly harassed.
Yeah.
If you've got cats,
Yep.
they usually don't like all the company, and the dogs
Right.
either enjoy, they're good around company and they get to spend time with everybody, or they're bad around company and they spend their time locked up or outside.
Right.
So there's a lot of joy, but there's also a lot of people that this is not a good time of year for them. There's a lot of, you're missing people. There's all of that. And we need to make sure that we're taking time for us so that we can be that best self when we're around family and friends. And even just, this next week of shopping is going to be ridiculous. And I I don't shop.
I go online.
you know I go online, and Jeff was so funny because we would get most of our shopping done like I used to during the year. If I saw a gift that I knew was going to be a perfect Christmas gift for somebody, it could have been
Yeah.
May. I'd buy it,
Yeah.
I'd
Right.
put it
Right.
away. So we
Right.
were usually done early, and then Jeff would go out Christmas Eve afternoon just to watch people shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'd come
Yeah.
home and tell me all the story. They're
All the
fighting over
crazy
the
stuff.
last TV. They're doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need a new hobby.
Yeah, really, really. As I for so many years, and even now, the work I do away from here is around crowds, and so I am to a point, and have been for a long time, where once I'm off work, once I'm home, it's kind of a safe space. I don't like crowds. I don't like to go out to dinner during peak times. I don't like to go. I don't like to go to the mall at all.
Let me let the
Like I
dog
said,
out.
I do most of my shopping uh, online. My cart at Amazon, I think, is full. It's,
Yeah, yeah.
and so, uh, but sometimes that interaction with people is something that you really, really, truly need. And
Right.
I tell myself I get enough of it at work, but obviously I don't, because there are times it's just, you're right. I like to go out and I love to people watch. I love to see what's going on. My wife and I get a kick out of it. Um,
Well,
but
for your emotional intelligence, watching other people it's amazing when you can disassociate yourself
yeah, yeah,
and just watch.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. But this is a rough time for everybody. I can think back. My great grandmother died Christmas Eve. Boy, I'm trying to think. It was late '60s. I remember my mom coming home. My mom found her. My mom coming home, and the family was all stressed out and everything else. My mom was a nurse, and she knew what was going on, so she made the calls and everything else, and so she dealt with that. And it was tough for my grandparents, um, but uh, they dealt with it differently. My dad died December 23rd, 2017, right before Christmas. We were up there visiting. We had a tragedy here in Tampa, so we left right away. We'd said our goodbyes to dad. We knew the end was near. Uh, Basically, I to believe when people are in that state and they can still hear what you're saying and talking to them and everything else. He knew that um, my youngest sister was coming in from Wyoming, and she had not seen him in a long time. And there was a lot of estrangement in the family with her and some of the things that she pulled and did and everything else. And that's a story for another time. But I truly believe he held on until she got there. And
Right.
after she had been there for a little bit is when he passed. We were on the road. We actually had just stopped for the night, halfway home from the Philadelphia area into Tampa, and got the call. And it's still, I still struggle. But here's some interesting things around that. This is how I deal with it. Okay, I love my dad. We got along fairly well. My dad worked graveyards all the time for almost his entire career. He worked nights. He just what who he was, how that's what he liked to do. And so a lot of times growing up, I didn't have a whole lot of time with him. But in all honesty, I started writing a book, and it's based on him and some of his words of wisdom, some of the things that he taught me over the years. Um, uh, it's funny. His favorite scripture was Romans 8:28. For those of you who know anything about the Bible, that's all things work to the good for those who love the Lord. All right, that was his favorite scripture. Anytime there was an issue, anytime he had a problem, anything like that, that's the first thing he came up with. And so, was that hard from time to time? Yeah, it was. There were some hard situations, and he didn't use it lightly, but he used it so that you would stop and think, where's the good in this?
Right.
Where's the good in this? And sometimes it takes time to figure that out. Um, y-
And I think, especially Americans, we have a tendency not to give ourselves time. Everything is immediate. Everything's got to be done right now.
mhm.
We live in a very, I mean, when you think about the 80s, everything was, you needed it done yesterday. There was
Right,
no
right, 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 right.
there was no time to process, there was no time to grieve, there's no time to make adjustments. And even now when, COVID did kind of help us change that, but I still think people don't feel that they have the ability to take that time. Now, it could be that work doesn't give you the time. It could be that you own your own business and you just don't feel you can take the time. This is a big time of year for many businesses, and when you have
Yes, make or
something
break.
come up, when you have an emergency come up over the holidays, it's
Mhm.
you got to juggle that in with keeping the business running and all of
Yep.
those other things. And to be clear, I don't want this episode to be doom and gloom.
No,
But
no, no.
what I want you to be able to do is, if nothing else, you get a bio break, right? So when you take your bio break, take an extra minute or two and just focus on yourself. Do some breathing exercises to calm the heart rate, calm yourself down, and allow yourself some quiet space. Because for the most part, I'm going to clarify that for the most part, they shouldn't be following you to the bathroom with issues. And if they do, you got to stop it.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually had someone follow me into the restroom one time with a problem. Obviously, it was a woman, but and I just told her, I said, I need 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I cannot solve that from the toilet. So,
Right.
and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She said, "I didn't even realize I was following you." And
Yeah.
I
And
said,
some people
"Yes, this
don't.
is urgent, but 5 minutes. Nobody's dying. I'm not medical. Nobody's dying. Give me 5 minutes, and at least let me get my mind off my bladder."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're looking at, you're looking at the family gathering. Maybe it's a small gathering, but you still like to do things big. You want to have the dinner, and you want to do all of those fun things. Give yourself some grace.
Yes, absolutely. And you
And
have a way to help with that, right? You have a program going on right now.
I have a program that starts in January called the Support Equation.
Mhm.
And really, what this program does is it helps you be supportive to your family, to your friends, without carrying their burden for them,
Right,
without getting mired down in whatever's going on,
right,
and being an ear, being a shoulder for them, but not personally carrying what they're carrying.
right.
And some of the things we talk about in there is how to find pockets of time for you so you can refill yourself and refresh yourself so you can be that support.
Right, right. If you scan that QR code that's at the top of the screen, that will take you right to the sign up page for Linda's program. And so feel free to do that, or you can reach out to us. I'll put an email address in here that you can reach out to us for, and we can talk to you more about that particular program. Um, it is with everything that's going on in the world today. It really is important to um, keep your head in the game.
Keep your head in the game. And a lot of times people will say, well, keep your emotions in check.
Yes,
Um, that's not always a healthy thing to do.
no, it's
What you
not.
need to do is be aware of what your feelings are. And if you need to step away to decompress for a few minutes, again, that's what take advantage of the bio break.
Yep.
Go to the restroom and give yourself a few minutes.
Mhm.
Take a walk down the hall.
Yeah.
Um, if it's nice out and it's your 15-minute break, you can take your 15-minute break. Maybe take a walk around the building.
Yeah.
There are ways to remove yourself from the tension of the situation and
Right.
refocus. And it's important that you start with refocusing on yourself.
Yes.
Check in and look at what you're feeling
Hmm.
and what might be the trigger. And without placing judgment on others, including yourself,
Yeah.
what's something you can do to mitigate that? You know,
Right. Right.
do you need a moment of prayer? Do you need a moment of meditation? Do you need a moment of sunshine and fresh air? You know, that's one of the things I love about living where I live is, I can get my vitamin D therapy pretty easy. The other day I was doing some work and it was really nice out. I mean, it's December, we were in the 60s, but the backyard was in shade. And
Hmm.
I thought, I just want some sunshine. So I actually I took a camp chair
Uh-huh.
and put it in front of my garage and took my laptop out there and I did some work so I could get
Yeah.
the sun.
Yeah.
And,
It,
and the neighbor came by and it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just felt the need to sit in the sun and get
yeah.
some work done.
Yeah.
And I did
It,
that for
it,
like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's so important to refresh like that, and those are habits that we need to get into as far as the refreshing and the time away. In almost every job that I've had, I've been around a lot of people most of the time, and there are places I know when I'm at the Port of Tampa and working in a supervisor's position that I need that time to breathe. You have 2,500 people getting off a ship, 2,500 people getting on the ship, and anywhere from 75 to 100 employees that want 75 to 100 different things, you know, and
And
um,
a very specific amount of time you have to get that
yeah,
done.
yeah, because the ship gets there at a certain point in time and it has to leave at a certain period of time. And here
Yep.
in Tampa, that's very important because the channel is only so deep and we have a bridge to go under. So it's fun. I really enjoy it. It keeps me moving. But there are times I need that corner, or we actually have one of our restrooms is basically off in a corner and one person at a time. And so you can go in, you can lock the door, you can breathe and relax and then head out. So it's just one of those, you have to take those moments during the day. Those are habits you need to create. When you start feeling the stress, and I'm even more aware of it now with my last little bout over Thanksgiving. Um, I have found that there are some things that get my dander up, if you want to call it that, or some things that really get to me. And in the back of my head, I hear my wife's voice, no stress. You can't have the stress. I can't lose you. You have to take care of yourself. And so, and I had gotten away from that. And AFib is something that they don't know why it hits, when it hits, or anything else. But the stress, I can manage the stress. I can choose to be stressed. I can choose to be out of control, or I can choose to take care of myself.
And am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The dog was growling. And one of the things we have to remember is that we have choices.
Yes.
We do not always have the ability to affect what happens to us. What we do have is the ability to how we are going to respond to that. And I use the word respond because we're going to react, but then we need to take a moment and step back and say, okay, that was the reaction. Is that the direction I want to keep going, or do I want to regroup and maybe respond in a different way? And one of the things emotional intelligence can do for a person is, number one, you start with your own self-awareness.
Right.
And it's learning how to recognize what you're feeling and give it a name. Not necessarily a label, but give it a name. It's not a judgment. It's, I recognize that right now I'm feeling very angry. What is my usual response when I'm feeling angry?
Yeah.
What are my results that I get from that response when I'm angry? Is there a better way I can respond? Now, the same thing, recognize that with joy as well.
Yeah.
This isn't just finding the negative. This is learning to recognize within yourself your emotions, what might trigger them in any given situation, and then what your reaction and your response is. And as you do this little self-audit, it becomes more of a habit and you start to recognize it more. And if you need to make changes that are more appropriate for that particular situation, it's going to be easier for you to do so.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
on the joy side, some people, we like to over celebrate, and again, no judgment.
Right.
But something that I might just think is the most fantastic thing, and I want the balloons, and I want, la la la, and I want to party for 3 hours. Somebody else might go, oh, well, that's nice.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's okay.
Yep.
What I need to realize is there's no judgment. This is how I'm feeling about it, and I'm loving it. It may not mean that much to someone else, and that's okay. That's not demeaning on them, and it's not demeaning against me. Their reaction doesn't define my feeling.
Right.
It may point out a place where I may need to reconfigure. But it's so important, especially now. I mean, when you think about it, between Thanksgiving and the middle of January, there must be, I don't know, 7 holidays.
Yeah.
And they're all different.
Yeah.
They all celebrate in different ways. And you don't have to celebrate that holiday in order to honor someone else's right to do so.
Yeah.
You know, don't rain on their parade. You don't want them interfering with yours. You stay out of theirs.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be dividing. And so look at how people respond to your actions. And again, not from a judgment place of, but if I go to my friend's house and say, you're overworked, let me cook for you. My friend, her love language is cooking. She would take that as probably a hit on her
Yep.
ability to do what she loves to do.
Yep.
So if I want to remove some of, the burden from her, I can say, can I come over and you show me how you're making what you're making? And then I get to help. Right.
When you're cooking and somebody asks you to show them what you're doing, I tell you right now, that's a teaching moment and you're sharing your skill.
And that's how these family recipes and traditions get passed down.
Yeah.
They didn't just write it down and hand them a card.
Yeah. Oh, it's that's so funny. So I make a cranberry chutney, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. We found
Ooh,
a
that
couple
sounds good.
recipes. Oh, it turned out very well. And my wife found, she was going through, she found our list of recipes that we'd been missing that we brought from Wyoming. And we moved down here in 2017. She just found them, which doesn't surprise me with the amount of stuff that we have in storage and in the garage. But
well, you just moved again. That's why.
Yes, that's it. That's why. And she's reading it and she says, "Oh, you know what's in this. The one you make all the time is probably better than this." So it's like, but that recipe, if I don't write it down or show somebody how to do it, it's lost. So
and that's so true. And when we pass on these traditions, whether it's the cooking recipes or maybe it's the tradition of putting up the tree or lighting the menorah or how you decorate for the holidays or the activities that you do during the holidays.
Right.
It's not done in a vacuum. It's a shared experience.
Right.
And that's really what these celebrations are about. I mean, they honor, for Christians, we honor the birth of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
For the Jews, they honor the journey of Hanukkah.
Yep.
It's not about just that piece. It's about the community and the family that gather to honor that.
Right. Exactly.
Which is one of the reasons why Christmas has gotten so large in the secular world, is because even if people don't have that religious belief, they do have the belief in goodwill towards men and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, you don't have to agree with the beliefs. You don't have to partake in the beliefs. Just allow people their joy of celebrating the way they celebrate.
Yeah. So, y'all, if you are struggling emotionally, financially, I can help you with that. But reach out to Linda on her program coming up here in January, and click on the QR code that's up there.
Yeah, scan the QR code, or you can send me an email, linda@lovinglifesjourney.com. You can go to the website. Now, the other thing about this is when you're looking around right now, there's a lot of stress. And
yes,
be kind to your neighbors. Be kind to the people in the stores. It's kind of funny because Lydia's brother and his wife are they're Jehovah's Witness, so they don't celebrate holidays, but they do, they're not stupid. When the sales come on, they're going to take advantage of the prices and get the things that they need to get.
Yep.
And you're out in the stores, you're out in public, you're out around people, and you have no idea what's going on in their life. So if they're short tempered with you, that's not a reason for you to get short tempered back.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Take a deep breath and, you know, unless it's something really that you need to address, let it slide. Sometimes just a smile or that look of acknowledgement that, gosh, I know it sucks, right? Just
Right.
letting them know that you see them and that you acknowledge what they're feeling. You don't have to agree with what they're feeling.
Right.
And that's a huge part of what my program does is we teach you how to acknowledge, because that's really what people are looking for, is to be seen, heard, to
Mhm.
feel like their presence is important.
Right. Right.
And that's a basic human need. And so
Yep.
we just want to pay that forward. And just while you're out today, let the strangers you come across, hold a door open, say a kind word, give a nice smile, not
Yep.
insincerely, but there's got to be something, that you can notice about that person, or do something for them. If somebody drops something, pick it up, hand it to them, and smile and walk on.
Right. Right.
Just you be the light.
And it's so interesting how much a smile means when you're out shopping and things are stressful and stuff like that. We've talked about it before. You see somebody across the store, just smile at them. What does that hurt? It takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. And so, let people know that they're
A-
okay.
And there's gonna be families out there where the kids are having a meltdown.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
Absolutely.
Do not. That's not helpful. Don't
No,
judge. If the
no,
kid
no,
having a
no.
meltdown bothers you, go to another part of the store or go shop somewhere else.
Yep.
This is not the time to dig in at parents about their parenting,
Yeah.
because again, kids are overstimulated. Think about walking into
Yep.
the stores right now. There's the decorations, the music, there's Santa, over here, there's all this going on.
Yep.
And
And
even
hundreds
if
and
you're
hundreds
not,
of people.
yeah, and even if you're not Christmas shopping, you can't go into a store that's not decorated for the holidays, for the
Right. Right.
Christmas holidays.
Yep.
And that energy is so high.
Mhm.
And then when you're tired and the kids are tired and you go into that energy, it's overstimulating.
Yep.
So
Yep.
don't judge. If you see somebody who's got a kid having a meltdown, maybe if you feel the need to intervene, maybe just go sit down by the kid and say, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all they need.
Yeah. Yeah. I see it all the time when little children are going on a cruise.
Yeah.
They are excited, and there's several hundred people in line with them. They're getting excited. They want to get in. They see this big ship sitting there. They're all excited. I remember when we took Liam down for on my wife's birthday, and we were in Port Canaveral, and he saw all those big ships and everything else. And oh my goodness, just excited. So kids get that way. And so you're right. It takes very little to calm them down. A kind word and everything else. And mom and dad are struggling.
Especially when you think about, like, that's not a short line to get on the ship.
No.
That's a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And young children are not patient.
No.
And you
No.
know
Not
what?
at all. But old people aren't patient.
That's a virtue, that they're not patient. They're
Mhm.
curious.
Yep.
They want to know, they want to see, they want to touch. And you just have to know that you're going to stand in line for a while. The kids are going to get tired, they're going to get cranky, they're going to get, you know, that's part of the deal. So if you're going to take your kids into those areas,
Yeah.
be prepared and don't get angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always laugh because, there was a time in my life where I did not tolerate other people's children because I did not tolerate people who let their kids just run wild
Yeah, yeah,
and didn't control them. And as I've grown through that, it's like, okay, I don't know what their family is
right.
like.
Mhm.
And it really wasn't like, kids weren't getting into danger or anything. So I was being extremely judgmental where, just because I didn't let my kid get away with that,
Right,
that,
doesn't mean, yeah. Mhm.
we parented differently. And
Yes.
that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
That's what makes the world so wonderful. It's we're different.
yeah. I try and teach, my agents, the thing that I used to do, especially with children in line, checking them in, getting
Yeah.
ready, 'cause and that is, you have to stop and talk to the kid, you know?
Yeah.
And, the one thing that I always found that got them a little more excited, but yet calmed them down because they knew it was close by, was I would ask them, "Do you know where the ice cream is?" And some of them had no clue that there was ice cream on board the ship. And then you have, do you like ice cream? You have a whole conversation with the child, which brings it down. Yes, they get excited about the ice cream, but then you tell them it's all you can eat and it's all day. And it's on this deck on this ship. I don't really want to give away different,
Right.
I don't
But I
want to
mean, you
promote.
talk to them like a person.
Right, right. And each buffet area on the ship is on a different deck. And so if you know what decks they're on, and you tell the child, or you tell them what to look for, um, and now they're looking at the ship in a different. They're looking at the ship as an ice cream cone. They're looking at the ship as I can get on there and I can get. I know I can get ice cream. What happens is the kids get so overstimulated. They come in and it's like taking them to an amusement park. They
Yeah.
see all this stuff. They see roller coasters. They see all these things that they can do. But if you can get them to focus down on one thing before they get on that ship, they are singularly focused until they find the ice cream.
Right. And again,
So,
that's a really high energy
mhm.
area.
Yeah, yeah,
And children are little sponges
yep, hmm,
and they feed on, as human
yep.
beings, whether we realize it or not, we absorb the energy in our surroundings.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
so, let them enjoy it.
yep. Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
you know what? If the fellow passing you, if the people in front of you and behind you in line don't like it, too bad. If your
Yep,
kid's not causing trouble for them, you know, don't let them run around like banshees.
right,
Keep them safe,
right.
give them things to do. But we have to remember, look at the joy
Hmm.
of being a child
Right.
for the holidays, for any of these exciting things, whether it's a cruise, whether it's a trip to grandma's, whether it's going to the zoo, whatever it is. As adults, we lose the joy in a lot of the things that we do.
Yes, we do. We do.
So watch how your kids and the kids around you are responding to these things and try to bring some of that joy back and, be a kid again for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Be safe. But, to me, there's nothing, as I've gotten older, the holidays aren't about adults. To me, I don't want gifts. I just want to be around family. And I love to be around kids at the holidays
Yeah, yeah. They keep you
because to
young.
me, that's what the holidays are for.
Yeah, mhm. Yeah,
It's for the wonder
absolutely.
and the excitement. So take care of your emotional state first
Yes, yes.
because it's a trite cliche, but it's true. You can't pour from an empty cup, and
No,
you
you
can't
can't.
and you can't give what you don't have.
Right, right.
So
And if you don't
you've
take care of
gotta
yourself
you've
and
got to take care
remain
of
calm,
yourself. And I'll give you a couple of quick tips that you can do during the holidays just to refresh yourself.
mhm,
Take if you can't leave, take a walk around the yard.
right,
If you've got pets, it's a perfect time to take the pets for a walk.
Yep.
Or maybe just sit down with the pet. You know, the pets are
Mhm.
stressed out too.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom, go to a bedroom, shut the door, take some deep cleansing breaths,
Mhm.
say a prayer, say a mantra, do a meditation, do something to recenter yourself. Check in with what you're feeling,
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
might be the reason you're feeling what you're feeling, and what you think is a good way to respond to that feeling. Get yourself pulled together, and then you
Yes.
can go back out and be present. And if you
Right.
need to
Right.
do that several times during the day, you can. I mean, if you're if you've got a house full of people, somebody can take over what you're doing for 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
You know,
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how that works.
Yeah.
So, take care of yourself. It's not selfish.
No, it's not.
It's essential. And just look at what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
And if you push yourself too hard and you're exhausted and you're not your best, and you forget about the dinner and you leave the turkey or the roast or the ham in there too long, or you forget to take
Mhm.
the pie out, you know, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Ask for help. I'm sure there are people around there that would love to step in, and especially if it's a big tradition,
Yeah.
bring in the next generation. Start
Absolutely.
teaching them why it's important to you what you do.
Mhm.
And if they want to carry that tradition on, they'll know how. That's that's what you do.
Yeah. Absolutely. So as we come through the holidays here, please be aware of your own emotional state. Take care of yourself. Click on the or scan the QR code and jump on Linda's program for the beginning of the year. And let's just move forward. If you want to reach out to us, we've put our email address in the chat. Feel free to reach out and we'll get right back to you. And thank you so much for listening. Linda, this has been good today. I
You
appreciate
bet.
you.
Appreciate
Um,
you too.
so,
Have a
y'all
good
live
one,
intentionally,
everyone.
take care, live intentionally, be very blessed. We'll see you next time.